All week we have been powering progress, diving into the electric vehicles, driving sustainable change in the Queen City.
Well, tonight, meteorologist Elisa Raffa and Climate Central look at EVs as a prescription, not just for the environment, but as preventative medicine for our health.
We're so used to these sounds. The push of pollution.
It's so silent.
That the silence of an electric vehicle is deafening.
Picking up speed. You don't hear anything other than the road.
My first time driving an EV around the QC was smooth sailing.
We're driving around, we're at a red light, and listen. Silence, right? You don't hear anything. There's no engine going because we are in a battery-powered electric car. So, I mean, it's so obvious when you're driving this thing around. It's so silent. You hear nothing. You know that there's no engine and you're not getting any emissions coming out of a muffler that's not there, right? But have you ever thought about what that means for our air quality? Obviously, we know it's better for the environment, but what about better for our lungs? Our air is cleaner. That's cleaner air that we're breathing in.
That's exactly why.
Just smelling the fumes. I don't want to do it. I don't want my kids to do it.
These EV owners made the switch.
You tend to get used to not having that kind of noise and smell.
Combustion side effects so loud at this car show.
It's less desirable to be an electric vehicle owner.
According to the American Lung Association, Charlotte has the second worst ozone pollution in the southeast.
This is wonderfully established science since at least a good understanding of greenhouse gas physics since at least the 1850s.
Dr. Brian Maggie is an atmospheric and climate scientist at UNC Charlotte. He observes the carbon emissions that can last in our atmosphere for hundreds of years.
We, as a species, as a global species, are sucking up a lot of energy, and so all the byproducts of that energy production is one of the major byproducts is greenhouse gases and air pollutants.
It's becoming a bigger issue, is really just an epidemic in itself, issues with air quality, climate change, and things like that.
Atrium Health pediatrician Dr. Aaron Levy treats patients at risk from those pollutants and teaches young medical students about the symptoms of climate change.
In the older population, people with chronic lung disease, people with heart disease, vascular disease, those kinds of things. We know there's a direct link between some of these environmental factors and poor air quality and their health.
Perhaps unlikely partners, but both actually work together as members of Mecklenburg County's Air Quality Commission. They have echoing prescriptions for healthy people.
Try to use your car less, so use alternative forms of transportation, whether that be bicycle or walking or public transport.
And a healthy planet.
Electric vehicles have an immediate benefit on air quality because if we think of most urban landscapes, and certainly Charlotte, the big city of Charlotte here, the big contributor to air pollution is mobile sources, which is a code word for cars, trucks, planes, trains, and all the other things that move and that are burning largely fossil fuels.
60% of the ozone-forming pollutants in Mecklenburg County come from those tailpipes. Net Zero America, an organization that includes scientists and engineers at Princeton University, found that North Carolina could avoid more than 4,600 deaths by 2050 by electrifying transportation. Fewer deaths are estimated to save more than $9 million in costs related to respiratory illness in the state. One reason the city is investing in preventative medicine instead.
You may have seen them around town getting some miles under their belt, some kilowatt hours under their belts.
This is one of 18 CATS electric buses that are hitting the roads as part of the pilot program. The goal is to be carbon-free by 2030.
Transit is inherently sustainable. We are enabling people to ditch their single occupancy vehicles and get on modes where multiple folks can ride.
Catherine Krumer is the Sustainability, Resiliency, and Governmental Affairs Officer with CATS. She's been working with federal grants to electrify Charlotte's public transit since 2019.
We go from emissions and dirty air pollution coming out of these tailpipes of your internal combustion engines, your fossil fuel powered vehicles, to zero. You go right to zero.
CATS is testing vehicles from 2 manufacturers over the next 12 to 18 months, compiling data on which gets us the best bang for our buck.
You have a window open. That could shift the aerodynamics of the vehicle allowing you to use more power, draining the battery. But then you also have regenerative braking on the buses that energize the batteries.
This data will ensure bus routes are clean in all neighborhoods.
Cars should be an option rather than a necessity.
Sustain Charlotte's Meg Fensel aims for clean and safe access to transportation in the Queen City as the Engagement and Impact Director.
So not only is public transit a way for more people to be able to get to different places that we need to go every day, but if those electric vehicles are not emitting tailpipe emissions, then it's much better for our health overall.
Health of the people and planet.
The generations that will come behind us that are going to inherently be impacted by the actions that we make right now.
In focus to drive this clean revolution.
We're hopeful that the confidence will grow. Range anxiety, which is a real thing. When you're transitioning to an electric vehicle, folks will become more confident in the fact that, this bus is going 100 plus miles a day. Maybe I can do that.
An electric charge on the road that's just as electric in the driver's seat.
I remember driving down the road. It's not making any sound, there's no vibration, but I'm moving. And the word that came to mind was magic.
And there's plenty of magic to go around.
I think electric is the way things are going, and hopefully one day I'll own one.
Meteorologist Elisa Raffa, Queen City News.